When you learn how to suffer, you suffer much less. Have you ever wondered why some people manage to stay calm under extreme pressure, while others lose control? Or why some tend to avoid responsibility for their feelings, blaming others or external circumstances? These questions lead us to a profound truth: the way we handle our emotions defines not only our quality of life and relationships with others but also our ability to grow as human beings. At the heart of emotional transformation lie Buddhist practices that teach us to slow down, observe our emotions, and, most importantly, take responsibility for what we feel. This is the essence of living with presence and purpose, something Thich Nhat Hanh described as the miracle of mindfulness. Have you noticed how often we become prisoners of our emotional cycles? We get stuck in patterns of anger, sadness, or anxiety because we rarely stop to understand what's truly happening within us. According to Buddhist teachings, emotions function like waves: they rise, peak, and, if we allow them, eventually fade away. But what we often do is resist or run from them, prolonging the suffering. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us that the solution lies in a single principle: full presence. The practice of mindfulness invites us to observe our emotions as temporary visitors rather than identifying with them. For example, when you feel anger, allow yourself to pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, why is it here? What is it trying to show me? This pause enables you to regain control over your actions and responses, breaking automatic patterns that can harm your relationships and mental health. Start by closing your eyes for 60 seconds and simply observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. You might be surprised to realize that it's often not the emotions controlling us but our resistance to fully feeling them. We've all experienced moments when we sought emotional support from someone, but when this need becomes constant and obsessive, it can indicate emotional dependency. This happens when we believe our happiness depends on another person, a partner, a friend, or even a boss. On the other hand, there are cases where emotional imbalance goes beyond dependency and may signal something more serious, such as generalized anxiety, depression, or even personality disorders. So how do we differentiate? Emotional dependency often manifests as an extreme need for validation, an intense fear of rejection or abandonment, or sacrificing your own needs excessively to please others. Signs of a potential mental health condition include persistent mood changes without a clear reason, a constant feeling of emptiness even in positive situations, or a lack of energy to enjoy activities that once brought pleasure. According to Buddhist psychology, the first step in identifying these differences is to observe the source of your emotions. Ask yourself, am I seeking something external to fill an internal void? This level of self-awareness can be uncomfortable at first, but it's essential to avoid confusing dependency with deeper psychological suffering. If you find that your feelings are beyond your control, seek professional help. This is not a sign of weakness but of strength, an important step in your journey of self-transformation. One of the most powerful lessons in Buddhism is the concept of detachment. But don't confuse detachment with indifference. It's about freeing yourself from the suffering that arises when we try to control the uncontrollable, such as other people's emotions or life circumstances. Thich Nhat Hanh invites us to imagine a beloved cup. We know that, sooner or later, it may break. Accepting this allows us to enjoy it in the present without attachment to what will inevitably change. Similarly, our emotions are like that cup: they come, go, and change. When we understand this, we free ourselves from the emotional chains that imprison us. Start by practicing conscious pauses. Before reacting impulsively, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, will this reaction improve the situation or only intensify the suffering? Then, actively accept what you're feeling. For instance, when sadness arises, say, I see you. I know you're here, and that's okay. Finally, remember impermanence: everything is temporary, including your emotions. When you embrace these practices, you realize that many of the emotional chains holding you back were created by your own resistance. This doesn't mean that suffering completely disappears, but it becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. Instead of running from pain, Buddhism teaches us that we can use it as an opportunity for growth. But to do so, we need something fundamental, that is self-compassion. It's the act of treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend in distress. Thich Nhat Hanh describes self-compassion as caring for your pain as you would care for a wounded child. Instead of ignoring or blaming yourself for difficult emotions, you learn to welcome them with gentleness and curiosity. Start by sitting in a quiet place and closing your eyes. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, repeat to yourself, "May I be well. May I be safe. May I be at peace." After a few repetitions, expand these wishes to others. For example, "May Matthew be well. May Matthew be at peace." Studies show that this regular practice not only reduces feelings of anxiety and depression but also strengthens the sense of connection with others. Additionally, it helps dissolve self-judgment, one of the biggest obstacles to emotional growth. When you choose to treat your emotions with kindness instead of resistance or blame, pain ceases to be a burden and becomes a bridge to a wiser and more compassionate version of yourself. Today, we live in a world where stress reaches alarming levels, relationships break down over misunderstandings, careers stagnate due to a lack of emotional intelligence, and many don't even recognize their own feelings. But here's the truth: you don't have to be a victim of this chaos. With simple practices like conscious pauses, detachment, and self-compassion, it's possible to transform pain into wisdom. The question that remains is, what will your first step be? Share in the comments and inspire others to start as well. And remember, your transformation begins when you choose to look within. If you enjoyed this content, check the pinned comment for more information and don't miss the next video appearing on your screen.